Hello everyone. Today our topic is how to handle empty strings and null values while working with group by and aggregation. So we'll see one by one. So first we'll see how to handle null values while working with group by and aggregation. So by default, PySpark treats nulls as valid group. If you want to exclude these, you must filter them out before calling group by. So we'll see what it means like valid group and how to filter before calling group by. So these two things we'll see with the examples. So first I'm importing the required functions. So mainly aggregate functions I'm calling here. And first I'm creating one sample data frame. So my sample data frame here I'm creating with SQL. Okay, so regularly we'll create with PySpark, but here I'm trying to create with SQL. So create or replace table, and this is my table name. And here I have three columns. So one is call one, call two, and amount. So call one, call two are string type, amount is integer type. And to this table, I'm inserting the values by using insert into script. And these are all my values here. And if you observe here, I am passing some null values here. So here one and here two null values to show how group by and aggregation handles null values. And on top of that, I'm calling this table. So df null example, I'm calling this table. So this is my sample data frame. So I have three columns and you can see there are few null values. Now what I'm doing, since I created through SQL, the table is created through SQL. To perform PySpark operations, first we need to convert this SQL table into Spark table. So for that, I'm using here spark.table, and inside that, this table name I'm passing here, df null example. So this I'm defining to one variable df underscore null. So now my table, this SQL table, it storing in this particular variable as Spark table. And you can see our table, Spark table here, and you can see the schema here. And on top of this, what I'm doing, this is our sample data frame, df dot group by. In group by, I'm passing two columns. One is call one, call two. So this is call one, call two. So first we'll understand how it to do group by using these two columns, and then how to calculate the count of each group. So call one, call two. So here A X is there. So this will become one group, and A null is there. This will become one group, and B Y is there. This is one group, and null X is there. This is one group, and null is there. This also will become one group. So we'll see here. So all are each one group, and that is the reason is showing count as one. And see here, whatever I given, first I given group by on call one, call two. That means it created groups. So since each group has a single value, so this particular group, it has single value. So this count function, it giving result as one. So this group one, and this group also one, and this group also one. And here main thing is, see here we have both nulls are there. So these nulls also it considering as group. If you see here, so by default, Spark treats null as valid group. So that means here it adding group, it adding as group. So that means call one, call two, we have null. So this combination also it creating one group. So now what I'm doing to get rid of this nulls, I'm using filter function here. tf underscore null, this is our sample data frame, dot filter. So inside filter, what I'm doing, first I'm checking with call one. So call one is not null. So that means from this data frame, first I'm checking call one. Call one is this column one. Column one is not null. So what are the not null values? Only these three are the not null values. And we have one more condition, call column two. So that means from column two is not null. So here, what are the values we have not null? So this is one, this is two. These three are not null values. But here these three values, but here one, two, three. So different rows ones. But what is the condition is given in between? So this condition and this condition, what is given? And condition. So and condition means both should have non-null values. And if you see here, so we'll get only two rows because here it is satisfying first condition since we give an and condition. So this that means both columns should have non-null values. So this is satisfying, but here we have one null value, so it will ignore this one. And here we have both non-null values. So we'll get this one and this one. But here we have one null value, it will ignore. Here both nulls are there, it will ignore. So first what it doing, it filtering all the null values. So that means it retaining both the columns as non-null values. So that is about this one, filter function. So on top of that, so what I'll do here, I'll try to display this one. So easy to understand. So display df underscore null not defined. So this I ran and I'm running this one spark.table, and on top of that, and now I'm running this one. So first it will display the data frame with filter. So after doing filter by using this condition, this is my output data frame. As we discussed, we'll get these two non-null values. And this particular thing, this data frame, on top of this data frame, I am doing group by. Group by on call one, call two. So now on top of that, I'm using count. I'm doing count. So here call one, call two, group by means A, X, B, Y. So we have only one combination. So this we have one combination. This we have one combination. So since we have only one row, count we are getting one. So here we have one row, we are getting count as one. Okay, so if you compare the difference here, see initially this is the output. After doing filter, this is the output. So this is one method to filter the rows, filter the null values. So now we'll see one more example. So this is my sample data frame 2. So here, initially, if you see in sample data frame, I used SQL to create the table. I used SQL. And here in sample data frame 2, what I'm doing, PySpark, but PySpark also I'm using different method. Spark.create data frame and data. So that data I created using row method. So generally we pass here data and columns separately. So, but here I'm using this row method. So in row method, first row, column name is this one, department, and this is the value. And column name is employee, value is this one. Column name is salary, value is this one. So total we have three columns. So one is a department, second one is employee, and the third one is salary. And if you see here sales, so this same thing vertical, it will print here. And here also these names vertically, it will print here. And similar way salary, these values, it will print here. So now my sample data frame 2 is created. Now what I'm doing, on top of this data frame, I'm applying group by on department. So this is my department column. So now what will happen, this department, it will group into unique values. So here if you see sales, so this is one group, and HR, this is one group, IT, this is one group, admin, this is one group. So total 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 groups it will create. And after creating, I'm using aggregate function count. So what I want to get is I want to find out in each group how many rows are there. So aggregate, this is aggregate function, and I given alias here. So number of employees. So number of employees is the column name, that is this one. And if you see for first sales, we have 2 rows. And if you see here sales, 2 rows. And at the same time, so next group is HR. So HR also we have 2 rows, 2 rows. And IT and admin, we have each 1 row. See here, IT 1 row, admin 1 row. So this is the output of this code, group by and aggregation. Now on top of this data frame, I am doing filter. So what I'm doing filter, I'm filtering for departments where there is more than one employee. So this is my number of employees count. So this table I want to filter so that I want to find out the departments, whichever the department has more than one employee. So here, if you see here these two departments, sales and HR, we have 2 employees, but IT and admin, we have 1 employee. So since condition is greater than 1, so it will get output as only these 2. So sales and HR is the employees having more than 1 employee. So that is this one. So aggregate on top of this data frame, here we are using where. So here you can use either where or filter. So where, and inside where I written this SQL code. So that means this is column name. So number underscore employees greater than 1. Okay, so next group by department. This is same, 4 departments will get. And here I'm using pivot method. First I'm doing pivot, then I'm calculating the sum of salary. If you see here sales, so here sales is there. Here sales Anand 5,000 is there. And if you see here sales, first it will print you department, and after that it will print you employee names. Say all these employee names. First it printed right this one, and next will print these employee names. So these employee names it printing here, see here like this, vertically, horizontally it printing, and later it will print this one salary. So for each employee, department wise, it will give you salary. See for sales, we have 2 rows. If you see here for sales, we have 2 rows, Anand and Bhaskar, 5,000, 4,800. See here for Anand, sales department 5,000, and for Bhaskar, same department 4,800. And for remaining departments, since they are not in this department, we'll get null values. And similar way for Chetan also. So in HR, we have 2 employees, Chetan and Sindhil, 4,3900. So Chetan belongs to HR department 4000 and Sendil. So this Sendil belongs to HR department 3900. And next, if you go to IT and admin, so each has single employee 6000, 7500. Jay and Guptesh. So Jay and Guptesh, IT and admin. So remaining all will be null. So that is pivot function, and later it applies sum of salary. So next, filtering aggregated data. So that means before doing group by, so first we'll apply filter. So that means filter for higher salaries. So this is my data frame, df null row, that is df null row, that is this one. So this is my data frame. On top of this, first what I'm doing filter. So in filter, what I'm doing here, see earlier I used to where condition. So here I used to where, here I'm using where, but here I'm using filter. So both are same. So in where condition, inside there I written SQL code, but here I'm using PySpark code. So either of the way you can write it. So where with inside, either you can write SQL code or PySpark code. Same thing for filter also. Either you can write SQL code or PySpark code. So df underscore null row dot salary greater than 4000. So from this data frame, I'm going to salary column. So here I'm filtering with greater than 4000. So greater than 4000 means it will filter these two rows. So that means HR department will go. So we'll be having only sales two rows, IT and admin. So here, see here, we don't have HR here. Sales, two sales we are getting, IT and admin. So that is about this one after filtering the high salaries. Next, what I'm doing group by. So this is same. So on top of this data frame, group by department. So here, how many departments will come? Only three will come. So one is the sales, and second is IT, third is admin. And if you see for sales, what I'm doing here is I'm counting the number of employees. So number of employees means high salary employee. So in sales, if you see here, we have only two rows. So we are getting count as two. And IT and admin, we have single row. So IT we are getting one row, admin we are getting one row. Okay, so that is this one. So first we are filtering the records, then we are applying group by and aggregation. So next one is handling empty strings or null values. So as of now, we saw about how to handle null values. Now we'll see how to handle both the things. So empty strings and null values. So when grouping by a specific column that contains empty strings or null values. So what is grouping behavior is PySpark treats all null values as one distinct group and all empty strings as another distinct group. So this scenario we already saw. So whenever we have null values, it considering as one group, and similar way, all empty strings, it will consider as one group. So to avoid this, what we are doing here is we are excluding these empty groups from your results. So that means you must filter them out before group by operation. So as in our previous case, so here what I'm doing, filtering out empty strings and nulls. So how I'm doing is, this is my sample data frame, and here I'm using filter function. So inside filter, I'm writing two conditions. So first condition is df.column name is not equal to empty string. So not equal to empty string means, so here I'm selecting only non-strings. And one more condition is, so here I'm selecting only non-null values. So that is column name is not null. So that means here I'm selecting only non-null values. So that means here I'm selecting both the combination like non-string value and non-null value. So we are filtering out both the things, empty strings and null values. Then after that, I'm applying group by and aggregation. So for this, we'll see one scenario. So this is my sample data frame. So here, this is null value. So this one and this one is the null value. And this is my empty string. So here I'm passing as empty string. And if you see this data frame, so here I have one null value, here one null value. And here I have empty string. So these two are empty string. So now what I'm doing, first I'm doing group by without filtering. So first I want to show this one condition like how this will create two different groups like null values one group and empty strings as one group. So group by department. So that means group by on this department. And after doing group by, I'm counting the number of rows in each department. So here, HR, I have two rows, year one and year one. So I have HR as two rows. See here, HR department is HR. I have two rows. And next, if you come to IT, so IT have only one row. And if you see, IT has one. And next, null I have. If you see here, null, we have two rows. So this null, it considering as one group and it has two values, two rows. And next, it will come to empty string. So we have two rows. So this is empty string and we have two rows. So this is about without filtering. So if you have data set like this, combination of null values and empty string, so then if you do group by without filtering, then it will do like this. So null values as one group and empty string as one group. Now, see here, all null values grouped together, all empty string values grouped together, they are treated as separate groups. So this is one group and this is one group. So now what I'm doing, I'm filtering out null and empty strings before group by. So how I'm doing, so on top of my sample data frame, I'm applying filter function and inside filter function, first I'm checking since I'm going to use department column as group by, and since we have nulls and empty strings in our department column, so first I want to remove that. So in my filter condition, so I'm selecting call as department column. My first condition is not null. So that means from department column, first it will pick non-null values. So here, what is non-null values? 1, 2, 3. So these three is the non-null values. So next condition is call of department is not equal to empty string. So not equal to empty string means, so again, these three will come. So empty strings. So since in between and is given, so that means department column is not null. So not non-null values and non-string values. So both should satisfy from department column. If you see here, we have non-string value, that means string value, this one string value, and we don't have non-null values. Okay, so non-null values means some integer values. So we have, so finally it will select only these three. So now on top of these three, it will apply group by. So and HR we repeating two times and IT is one time. So it will create two groups. See here, HR is coming as count as two and IT coming as two. So group by department and I'm applying count. So next one is labeling instead of dropping. So that means, so here I'm dropping both null values and uh, empty strings. So instead of dropping this one, instead of dropping this one, I am following other method. So instead of dropping, I am labeling the those nulls and empty strings. So that how I'm doing. Here I'm using when and otherwise condition. So this is my sample data frame. Here I'm using with column. So with column on department column. So that means existing column, I want to update it. So how I want to update it is, so in when condition, first when condition, when my call of department is null. So if any of the value of department column is null, then I want to replace with null value. So here, okay, display given. So here, see, this is one. This null value we are getting. Why? Because if you see here, we have two null values here. That is third row and sixth row. See here, third row, sixth row, it is replacing with the null value. Since in department column, we have null values. And one more when condition is call of department is equal to empty string. So whenever it finds empty string, it has to replace with empty underscore string. And if you see here, in fourth row and seventh row, we have empty string. So that it replaces with, here fourth and seventh, it will replace with empty underscore string. So and otherwise, so that means uh, other than these two conditions, that is except null and empty string, for remaining all, it has to retain original value. That is call department. So that means original value it is written HR, IT, HR. So that is original value. So I displayed this one, that is this table. So now on top of this table, what I'm doing group by on department and I'm counting the number. So in this department column, HR, how many we have? Two. So HR is one group, that is two. Next IT is there, IT is one. And next we have null value, so that is 2. And next we have empty string, that is 2. Okay, so now two scenarios we saw. So how to fill null values and how to fill empty strings. So now we'll see how to fill nulls before grouping by using fill NA method. So fill NA method we use to prevent nulls from forming their own group. So here we can use fill NA method to replace them with a default value. So we can replace with unknown. So here what I used, when and otherwise function I used to replace nulls and empty string. So but here I'm using fill NA method. So fill NA method we can apply only on null values. So but here I have both nulls and empty strings. But here I'm trying to explain how to replace null values with fill NA method. So same example I'm taking here. So I have same data frame. So first what I'm trying, I am doing group by without fill in. So that means null appears as its own group. So here we discussed already group by department. And if you do count HR2, IT as 1, so nulls we have 2 and we have empty string as 2. So this is group by without using fill in. Next, what I'm doing without before doing group by, first I'm applying fill in a method to replace null values. So how I'm doing, this is my sample data frame. I'm here, I'm using fill in a method. And inside that I'm using one dictionary. So what is this dictionary I'm passing? Key is column name. So in department column, so wherever nulls are there, so I want to replace with unknown. So first what will happen? I'll try to display this one. First, I will run this data frame. And if I run this one, so this is my first output. That is, so that is with this code. So this code, what it doing? So earlier I have these two places, nulls I have. So if you see here, third and fifth, I have null. So now by using fill any method, those nulls, three and fifth, it is replacing with unknown. So now it replaced with unknown. After replacing with unknown, I am doing group by. So group by on department on this column. And after that, I'm applying aggregate function count. So here HR, we are getting 2. So first group is HR, that is 2. So next we have IT. So that IT is we have only 1 row. So next we have unknown. So this unknown we have 2. But empty string we are not touched. So empty string as it is will come 2. So here I given unknown. So you can use any other name here. So this is about replacing the nulls with fill NA before doing group by. So next here what I'm doing, same method by using when and otherwise function. Here what I'm doing with column department. So that means existing data frame, I am updating the values. That means replacing the values. So wherever null is there, I'm replacing with unknown. So wherever empty string is there, I'm replacing with empty underscore string. So here, this syntax we already saw in previous scenario. So in first when condition, when my call of department is null. So that means in third row, so that is here, third row and fifth row, we have null. So those nulls, now it will replace with unknown. So based on this condition, so third row and fifth row, it will replace with unknown. So next, when call of department is equal to empty string. So empty string we have in 6th and 7th row. If you see here, 6th and 7th row, it will replace with empty string. So wherever empty string is there, it will replace with empty string. So here unknown and here empty string. So this is about this code. So before applying group by, we are replacing nulls and empty strings. Now on top of this data frame, applying group by on department. So and after that I am doing count. So here HR we have 2 rows. So HR will get 2 and IT it is 1 and unknown we have 2 rows. Unknown we have 2 rows and here we have empty string. So empty string we have 2 rows. So these are all the different methods on how to handle empty strings and null values before apply group by and aggregate functions. So that's all about this video. If you really like this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you.